Mr. Harrington leaves his entire estate to Miss Elena Thompson. The lawyer's voice wobbles. Chairs scrape. A glass tips and shatters. Mark, the son, shoots to his feet. "Who is she? This is insane!" Vivian's pearls click against the table as she leans in, pale and furious. Lisa stares at Elena like she's a ghost. Elena sits small in a thrift store coat, a tissue crushed in her fist. She's a black woman in her 50s with careful eyes, the kind that have learned to brace for impact. She doesn't look at them. She looks at the floor. The lawyer clears his throat. There is also a letter addressed to Miss Thompson. The room tightens. You can feel the blame circling, the questions, the word they won't say but everyone hears anyway. Why her? Let me take you back, because the ride didn't start here. It started on a cold night, months before this room, when Richard Harrington, king of glass towers and empty halls, went walking because he couldn't sleep in his giant, silent house. The city noise made sense to him in a way people didn't anymore. He turned a corner, eyes on his phone, and tripped over a backpack at a park bench. "Watch it," he snapped, brushing off his suit. "Sorry, sir," a voice said. Elena's voice. Tired, soft, steady. He finally looked, not past her, at her. Her clothes were worn thin, her hands were red from the cold, but her gaze was clear. "You okay?" he heard himself ask, surprised he cared. She nodded, which meant no. He pressed a 20 into her hand and walked off fast, heart knocking like he'd done something wrong. He told himself that was the end. It wasn't. The next day he brought coffee. The day after that, a sandwich. He sat on the bench like it was the only place he could breathe. "I'm Richard," he said. "Elena," she answered, and that was that. They talked about small things, pigeons, weather, a kid on a scooter who kept almost wiping out and then grinning like he'd beaten the world. She didn't ask who Richard was or what he could do for her. She asked if he liked the red scarf he wore now that the wind had teeth. He didn't tell her his net worth. He told her he hated the silence in his house. Her story came out in pieces. South Side childhood, a daughter named Maya who loved library books and mango popsicles, a marriage that turned bad, then worse, jobs lost, doors closing, how being poor made people look through you like glass, how race made those doors even heavier. She said it flat, without drama, like reporting the weather. He listened and felt something he hadn't felt in years, the sting of truth. He told her things he'd never told anyone, that he was scared of dying and leaving nothing that mattered, that his kids treated him like a bank with a pulse, that he'd signed deals that made him rich and other people homeless. He said the word he usually avoided, gentrification. She didn't pat his hand or let him off the hook. "You can't fix what you won't face," she said. "Look at it." He started looking. He drove past buildings with his name on them and saw the for lease signs where families used to live. He saw the old barber shop turned into a sleek coffee bar with $10 foam. He noticed who got invited in and who got pushed out. He noticed race in the pattern he'd called just business. Shame hit him like a wave. He told Elena. She nodded. It's not too late to choose different. At home, different did not play well. Vivian liked charity galas, not hard mirrors. Mark made speeches about personal responsibility from the leather seat of his father's car. Lisa posted perfect photos and scrolled past anything that felt messy. Richard didn't tell them about Elena. He told them he was tired. The doctor said, stress. He went walking anyway. Rain came down one afternoon like needles. He found Elena under a museum awning, shivering. He brought her a wool hat and a cheap umbrella. She laughed, bright, surprised, real. "Thank you," she said, "for seeing me." He went home and opened the safe. The will stared back at him like a dare. He shut it and poured a drink. He didn't sleep. A week later, he took her to a diner that didn't mind backpacks, eggs, pancakes, a window seat. An older woman scowled as she walked past. "We don't need this here," she muttered. It wasn't new. It still cut. Elena kept eating, slow, steady. Richard's face burned. "Do you want to go?" he asked. "No," she said. "I want to finish my breakfast. Dignity isn't loud. It's strong."
He changed the will a month later, not for pity, not for drama, because Elena had given him back something he thought money had killed, his own heart. She told him the truth. She held it steady when he wanted to look away. She had nothing, and still she had kindness, humor, and a spine of steel. He wanted his money to mean more than marble lobbies after he was gone. He wrote a letter, sealed it with the will, and slept better. Secrets don't stay buried around wealth. Mark found diner receipts and a scarf that wasn't Vivian's. Lisa found a photo, Richard in the park with Elena, smiling like he had finally exhaled. They wrote their own story. Con artist, gold digger, crisis. Underneath the words was the quiet part they wouldn't say. "She's not one of us." Then Richard's heart stopped in the middle of an ordinary night. No speeches, no last words, just a soft exit and a loud aftermath. Lawyers, reporters, gossip, 100 fires lit at once. And this room. Now the lawyer lifts a small silver blade and breaks the seal. The paper crackles. Everyone leans in. "Miss Thompson," he says, "Mr. Harrington wanted you to hear this first." "I didn't ask for any of this," Elena whispers. Her voice doesn't shake now. It's clear. "I didn't." Mark laughs without humor. "Then give it back." Elena looks at him, really looks, and doesn't answer.
Before he reads, let me tell you what will not change, no matter how loud they get. The number is real. The money is hers. But the why is not what they think. It's not a scandal. It's not romance. It's not a game. It is a promise, a debt of the soul. A man trying, at the end, to do one thing that mattered. The lawyer begins. The first line isn't about the fortune. It's about a park bench, about a paper cup of coffee, about the moment a man with everything and a woman with nothing met in the middle and recognized each other. "What do you owe?" Richard's letter asks. "The person who teaches you how to be human again." That question is the blade that will cut this family open. And the answer? It's in the next page of that letter, the page that will explain why a rich man set his life on fire to light someone else's way. The lawyer smooths the paper like it might tear under the weight of what's on it. He reads, slow and steady, and every word feels like a pebble dropped in a still pond, ripples spreading all the way to the edges of that room. "Elena, if you are hearing this, it means I'm gone and I didn't get to say thank you the way I should have. You met me when I was rich and empty. You saw me when I was seen by everyone and known by no one. You told me truths I paid good money to avoid. You didn't want my money. You wanted me to look up. So I did." Mark scoffs. "What is this, poetry?" The lawyer doesn't even blink. He keeps going. "I owe you more than a debt. I owe you change. I put my name on buildings and my shadow on neighborhoods. I signed papers that turned homes into investments and people into lines on a spreadsheet. One of those lines was you. You didn't know this, and I didn't either, until the day I went back through old files. The building where you and Maya lived, it was mine. My company bought the block. We raised the rent. We called it market correction. You called it eviction. You lost your home because I wanted a better return." Viv gasps like someone slapped her. Lisa whispers, "Oh my God." Mark shakes his head hard. This is manipulation. But even he can't make eye contact with Elena. Elena doesn't flinch. Her jaw tightens, then loosens. She looks at the letter like she's bracing for rain that's already falling.
The lawyer continues, I told myself I didn't know, that I was too far up the chain to be guilty. But not knowing doesn't make you innocent. I was part of the machine. I benefited. You paid. I cannot undo what I did, but I can choose what my money does next. There's a short pause. The lawyer swallows and reads on. There's another thing you never asked me to share. I will anyway. The night in the park, when my heart first failed me, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't call my doctor. I didn't want more pills or more lectures. I sat on the bench and thought, so this is how it ends. You didn't panic. You held my hand and said, breathe with me. You counted out loud. You called the ambulance only when I nodded. You stayed until they closed the doors. You told the EMT my allergies and the name of my cardiologist, because I'd told you those things like they were small talk. You remembered. You saved me. You saved me twice, once from dying and once from living like I was already dead.
Vivian stares at Elena like she's seeing her for the first time. Is that true? She asks, almost a whisper. Elena nods once. He didn't want me to make a fuss, she says softly. So I didn't. The letter keeps going. To my family, who may be in the room while this is read, I love you. I failed you in other ways. I taught you to measure worth in dollars and minutes, not in people and hours. That is on me. I won't pretend this letter will make you forgive me. I won't ask you to like my choice. I ask you to listen. Mark's face goes stiff. Lisa's eyes shine, then harden. Vivian sets her hands flat on the table, like holding herself still. I have left the bulk of my estate to Elena, the letter says. Not as a prize, not as pity, as a trust. A trust with teeth. It will fund safe housing, job training, and legal support for tenants displaced by developments like mine. It will build a community center on the south side and name it after Elena's mother, Mrs. Ruth Thompson, who raised a woman with a spine of steel. It will endow scholarships for single black mothers returning to school. It will pay for a mobile health clinic to meet people where they are. Elena will chair the board. Independent auditors will publish every dollar. Transparency is not optional. The room is stone still. The words hang there like bright, sharp hooks. You can feel the shift. This isn't a handout. It's a mission. It's also a mirror.
The letter pivots. To Elena. I have left a private home in your name, free and queer, and a stipend that is yours to use as you see fit. Dignity is not a program. It's a right. You will not answer to anyone for how you live. I hope you go to Paris. I hope you sleep without fear. I hope you buy a ridiculous hat and laugh out loud. Elena's lips tremble. She presses the tissue to her mouth, breathes, and lowers it. No tears spill. Not yet. To my family, the letter says, and the air goes thin. I did not cut you out to punish you. I cut you out because I used money to buy your love, and I will not rent it any longer. If you want a part in this, you may earn it the way Elena did, with time, with truth, with work. I have asked my attorneys to create a path. If, for 2 years, you serve weekly at the center named for Ruth Thompson, no cameras, no posts, no speeches, and complete an anti-bias program I never had the courage to take, Elena may choose to grant you a stipend from the trust. She owes you nothing. She may say no. You owe her respect, either way. Mark explodes. He can't do that. He can't make us volunteer for our own money. The lawyer looks up, calm as with steady tide. He can, he says. He did. Lisa speaks for the first time, voice small. Is there anything for the kids? College, anything? The lawyer scans the page. There is a separate educational fund for all current grandchildren, released regardless of this trust. It is modest compared to the estate, but more than sufficient. The letter's last stretch is simple. I chose Elena because she told me the truth when I had every reason not to hear it. She didn't flatter me. She didn't hide from me. She asked nothing. She gave much. If you think this is about a stranger stealing your future, ask what kind of future you are building when you could ignore the people right outside your window. Silence. Heavy, honest, loud. You can hear the clock tick, the air vent hum, someone's shoe tapping the floor. Then the lawyer reads one more line. There is one more envelope, addressed to Maya Thompson. Do not open it. Deliver it to her directly. Elena looks up fast, startled, like someone said her child's name in a crowded room. She clutches the tissue again. She's in Atlanta, she says. We haven't... She stops. You hear what she doesn't say. Time. Distance. Life. Vivian speaks to Elena, not at her. We'll find her, she says. It's the first thing she said that sounds like a promise and not a threat. Mark slams his chair back. I'm contesting this, he snaps. Dad was not of sound mind. He was manipulated. The lawyer sighs and slides a second document across the table. Mr. Harrington recorded a video with 2 independent doctors. He was lucid. He anticipated your objection. Any attempt to harass or defame Miss Thompson triggers a clause that donates the educational fund to the trust. I suggest you don't test it.
Mark's mouth opens, closes. He stares at Elena like she's the lock on a door he thought he owned. Elena finally speaks into the quiet. I don't want to fight, she says. I want what he wanted, for people to be okay, for there to be a place to go when everyone else says no. She looks at Vivian, then Lisa, then Mark. You can come, or not, but don't make this ugly, please. The lawyer folds the letter, hands shaking now, the way hands shake when a weight has been set down. That's the end, he says, for today. But you and I both know it isn't the end. It's the start. The will is a spark. The family is dry timber. The city is watching. And somewhere in Atlanta, a woman named Maya is about to open an envelope that might stitch a wound closed or tear it wider. 2 days after the will reading, the envelope is still sitting on the table like it's made of glass. Elena won't touch it without shaking. Finally, she looks up at the lawyer and says, I'll take it to her myself.
I'll go with you, Lisa says, surprising everyone, including herself. Her voice is careful. If that's okay? Mark mutters something under his breath and storms out. Vivian just nods once, eyes on the envelope, like she's memorizing it. Atlanta is hot, even in early spring, the kind of heat that presses on your skin. The cab smells like pine cleaner. Elena sits in the back seat with the envelope on her lap, hands folded. Lisa stares out the window, clutching her toad like a shield. I don't know what to say to her, Lisa admits. You don't have to say anything, Elena replies. Just be kind. They find Maya at a community clinic that shares space with a church. The waiting room hums with quiet patience, kids with sticky hands, elders with soft voices, posters about blood pressure and flu shots taped to the walls. A woman at the desk glances up. Can I help you? I'm looking for Maya Thompson, Elena says, voice thin. The woman smiles. You're just in time for her break. She calls into the back. Maya, you got visitors. Maya comes out in scrubs the color of a cloud right before rain. She's 27, maybe 28, hair pulled back tight, eyes sharp. She sees Elena and stops dead. The clinic noise drops away for a heartbeat. Her face doesn't soften. It hardens. Mom, she says. Not a question, a measure. She looks over Elena's shoulder at Lisa, at the careful clothes, at the tote. She calculates in a blink. What's this? Elena holds out the envelope with both hands. This is from Mr. Harrington, she says. He's gone. She swallows. He asked me to give this to you. Maya takes it like it might bite. She turns it over. Her name is written in a clean hand, black ink. She looks back at Elena. "You disappeared," she says plain. "I was 15. I called you for a week. Then the number stopped working." Elena nods, shame rising in her cheeks. "I thought I was keeping you safe," she says. "I was wrong." Lisa shifts, wanting to explain everything and knowing she can't. Maya breaks the seal. The paper slides out. One page, then another. She reads in silence. Her face doesn't move for a long time. Then it does. "Dear Maya," the letter begins, and you can hear Richard's voice even from here, the steady cadence, the weight. "You do not know me, but I know you in a way that has kept me up at night. Years ago, when I was the kind of man who said market forces like it was a prayer, a letter came to my office. It was written by a 15-year-old girl in neat, careful print. She asked me, politely and powerfully, not to raise the rent on her building. She said, 'My mom works nights. I'm trying to keep my grades up. Our neighbors are like family. Please don't make us leave.' I did not answer you. I raised the rent. I called it necessary. It was not. It was greed." Maya's voice is a whisper. "He got my letter." Elena's hand reaches for the back of a chair and rests there, steadying. Lisa presses her lips together, eyes burning. The letter continues. "I found your letter in a box while reviewing old files. I recognized the building. I recognized your last name. I realized the woman who sat with me in the park, who saved my life on a bench and with her words, was the mother of the child I failed. I cannot return what that eviction took, but I can tell the truth. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am also responsible." Maya's breath comes slow. She keeps reading. "With this letter, there is a certified notice. The trust I created gives grants for the clinic where you work. And for you, there is a scholarship in your name to complete any degree you choose, nursing, medicine, social work, or anything else, at any school you are admitted to. There is also something else. Enclosed is a copy of a proposal I filed with the city to buy back the building on your old block from its current owners and convert it to permanently affordable housing. Your letter will be carved into the lobby wall, with your permission. If the city approves, the building will be named Maya's home." Elena closes her eyes. Lisa lets out a sound that's half laugh, half sob. Maya doesn't cry. She sits down and reads the last paragraph. "If you never want to see me, I understand. If you never want to see my family, I understand. But if you are willing, I hope you will meet Elena in a room without the weight of the past on your shoulders and tell her about your life. I hope you will visit the center named for Ruth Thompson and tell us what we got wrong. I hope you will consider joining the board. I leave the choice to you. It should have been yours all along." Maya folds the letter back into the envelope with care, like it's fragile. She looks at Elena. "Why didn't you tell me about him?" she asks. "I didn't know how," Elena says, voice raw. "Then I was ashamed. Then time kept moving. I thought you were better without me in the way." Maya studies her mother's face. The years between them sit there like a wall. Then she glances at Lisa. "And you are?" "Lisa Harrington," Lisa says. "His daughter." She rushes on before the judgments land. "I'm not here to defend what he did. I'm here because he asked us to face it, and because I wanted to meet you." Maya's mouth twitches. "Face it how?" "By showing up," Lisa says. "By working. No cameras, no posts, just work." The words feel strange in her mouth, like shoes that don't quite fit yet. The clinic door chimes. Someone coughs. A child giggles. Life keeps going even when the past walks in. Maya looks back at the letter, then at Elena again. "I have patience. 10 minutes." They step into the small courtyard behind the clinic. There's a fig tree and a cracked pot, and a bench that has seen better days. Elena sits. She wrings her hands, then forces them still. "How are you?" she asks, and the question contains 100 other questions she's not allowed to ask yet. "I'm okay," Maya says after a beat. "I share a place with 2 other nurses. I run in the mornings. I like my job. I don't sleep much." She looks up, softer now. "Do you have a place to live?" Elena nods. "He left me a house, and a job I didn't expect. He wants me to chair something big. I don't know if I can." "You can," Maya says, simple and sure, the way she used to say, "I did my homework, but you don't have to do it alone." The clinic door opens and the woman at the desk calls, "Maya, we've got to walk in." Maya stands. "I want to read this again tonight," she says, holding up the envelope. "Come back tomorrow, after my shift?" Elena's yes comes out too fast. She slows it down. "Yes," she says again, softer. Maya nods once and disappears inside. On the ride back to the hotel, Lisa stares at the city sliding past. "I remember that building," she says. "We drove by when I was a kid. Dad pointed at it and said, 'See? That's progress.'"
Elena watches a boy on a skateboard fly down a gentle hill, arms wide. "He was wrong," she says, "but he's trying to make it right." When they get to the lobby, the TV over the bar is already chewing on the story. Rich man leaves fortune to homeless woman. Family photos flash, a shot of Elena on the park bench, taken without her knowing. Mark's voice booms from a clip outside the lawyer's office. "We will explore all legal options." Lisa winces. Of course he did. Elena's phone buzzes with a number she doesn't know. She hesitates. Answers. A man's voice, warm and tired. "Ms. Thompson, this is Councilman Reyes. I received Mr. Harrington's proposal about the building on 83rd. Developers are pushing back hard. If you're willing, I'd like you to speak at the hearing. People need to hear from the person this matters to most." Elena looks at Lisa. Lisa nods, no hesitation this time. "We'll be there," Elena says. Her voice is steady, strong. She hangs up, and for a second, the weight shifts. It's not just grief now. It's purpose. It's a door cracked open. But then the phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. A grainy photo of Elena and Richard at the diner. A message, "You think you deserve this. We know who you are." The next text is worse. Lisa sees her face and steps closer. "What is it?" "Nothing," Elena starts, then stops. She hands over the phone. Lisa reads and goes pale. "We're telling the lawyer," she says, "and the police." Elena looks past the lobby glass at the city lights, the moving traffic, the rush of people. Somewhere out there, a hearing is coming. Somewhere else, a man she used to love is sharpening his anger into a weapon. Somewhere back in that clinic, a daughter is holding a letter that might change both their lives. Tomorrow, the fight begins. Tonight, Elena sits on the edge of the hotel bed, boots still on, and whispers into the room, "Don't let me fail them." The hearing room smells like old paper and hot coffee, rows of folding chairs, fluorescent lights that buzz, a few cameras, a lot of eyes. A sign on the wall, public comment, 2 minutes each. Elena sits in the front row with Lisa beside her, hands folded, back straight. Councilman Reyes nods from the dais. Developers in sharp suits cluster by the door, whispering. A woman with a stroller rocks her baby with her foot. An old man in a veteran's cap holds a crumpled lease. Mark walks in late. He takes a seat in the back, arms crossed, jaw tight. He doesn't look at Elena. Vivian slips in after him, quieter, a scarf pulled around her shoulders. No pearls today. Reyes taps the mic. "We're here to consider a proposal to convert the property on 83rd into permanently affordable housing under a community trust funded by the Harrington estate." A murmur rolls through the room at that name. "We will hear from all sides." A developer goes first, slick smile, perfect hair. "We respect the intent, but the numbers don't add up. This is not sustainable.
This city needs investment, jobs, growth. Another developer follows. We can include 10% affordable units and still deliver value. He says the word value like it's holy. Reyes calls Elena. She stands. The room quiets. She walks to the mic, slips a small paper from her pocket, then doesn't look at it. She looks at the room. My name is Elena Thompson, she says. I'm a mother. I lived on 83rd. I lost my home when the rent went up. I slept on benches. I ate in church basements. I learned how to be invisible so people wouldn't call me names or call the cops. She takes a breath. I met Richard Harrington on a cold day when I was tired and he was lonely. He helped me sometimes, yes, but before that, his company put me out. He owned the building that took my home. He didn't know. He found out. He changed.
She lets the words sit. Changed. People say numbers don't add up. I know a different set of numbers. Bus routes that got cut. Schools that closed. $10 coffee where the barber shop was. 3 families to a 2-bedroom because no one will rent to you with an eviction on your record. The math of pain is quiet, but it's real. She leans in. This plan uses money that made the problem to fix the problem. It buys back what greed sold. It says home is not a line item. It says dignity is not a luxury. If you want to talk about value, start there. A murmur. A few claps. Reyes lifts a hand and the room settles. A landlord steps up to push back, then a teacher stands to support, then a nurse, then a grocery manager. Short stories, fast facts, tired voices carrying years. Lisa's turn comes and she hesitates only a second before walking to the mic. I'm Lisa Harrington, she says. Some heads snap her way. She swallows. My father taught me to smile for cameras and not ask hard questions. He also taught me, at the end, to face what I don't want to see. He left money to a woman you've seen on TV. But that's not the point. The point is what the money will do. I'm here to say I will volunteer at the center named for Ruth Thompson. I will show up. And if I don't, hold me accountable. Her voice shakes on that last line, but she doesn't look away. She turns and meets Elena's.
Reyes glances at the back row. Any more comments? Mark stands, to everyone's surprise. He walks to the mic like it might bite. He grips the edges. I'm Mark Harrington, he says, and the name lands like a weight. He looks at Elena, then at the developers, then at the floor. For a second, he is a boy with a too big suit on. I don't like any of this. A few laughs, a few boos. He keeps going. I think my father was unfair to us. I think he chose a stranger over his family. He takes a breath. But I also read the letters. I watched the video with the doctors. I saw the receipts. He wasn't out of his mind. He was out of excuses. And I've had a lot of those, too. Silence. Even the lights seem to listen. I won't lie, Mark says. I came here to fight. But I walked past a man in the hallway just now holding a trash bag with clothes in it. My father built the machine that made that bag a suitcase. I helped build it when I called that progress. So, I'm not going to help you kill this proposal today. I'm not going to help you delay it to death. I'm not ready to cheer it, but I won't stand in the way. He turns to Elena, the words heavy. I won't harass you. I won't touch the trust. I'll send my kids' college fund thanks, and I'll do my hours. That's what I can say today. He steps away from the mic, jaw clenched, eyes bright with something that isn't anger anymore. Vivian squeezes his arm as he passes. He doesn't pull away. Reyes nods once, slow. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. He looks over the room. We've heard enough to vote.
The board votes yes, yes. 1 no, yes. The motion passes. It doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like a door opening on rusty hinges. A woman in the back cries quietly. The vet in the cap wipes his eyes with his sleeve. Elena sits down, hands on her knees. Lisa lets out a back like she'd been underwater.
Mark stares at the floor and doesn't move. Outside, microphones wait. Elena steps into the light and the questions start. Do you think you deserve this money? Are you and Richard... What do you say to people calling this a stunt? She looks past the cameras to the people gathered on the steps. This isn't about me, she says. It's about home. It's about what happens when people with power say, we did harm, now we will repair. She raises her voice. This is about a city that keeps the people who built it. That's it. Back at the hotel, there's a voicemail from the detective. They trace the threats to a burner tied to a small group of online trolls. Not Mark, not anyone in the family. Charges are being filed. The noise dims a notch. That night, Elena meets Maya again in the clinic courtyard. The air is warm. The fig leaves shine. Maya holds the letter, folded soft at the edges now. They approved it? She asks. They did. It'll take time, but it's real. Maya nods. I read this 3 times, she says. I was angry, then numb, then, I don't know, tired. She looks up. I want to see the house he left you. She laughs, surprised. It's not fancy.
I don't care, Maya says. I want to see where you sleep. I want to know you have a door that locks. They drive over. The house is small and clean, with a porch light that works and a key that turns without jamming. Elena opens the door like she's letting light in. Maya walks through the rooms, touching the dresser, the window frame, the smooth edge of the table. She stops in front of a cheap hat on a hook, the wool one from the museum day. She smiles. He had bad taste, she says. The worst, Elena says, and they both laugh. The sound awkward at first, then easy. They sit on the floor with cups of tea. It's quiet, not empty, full. Do you hate me? Elena asks, finally. The question sits there between them. It trembles. No, Maya says. I hurt. I don't trust yet. But I don't hate you. She looks at her mother's hands. You can't fix 15 with 1 letter. But you can call me tomorrow, and the next day, and you can show up. She taps the envelope. That's what this is about, right? Showing up. Elena nods. Every day I can.
The next weeks move fast. Paperwork, permits, community meetings that boil and simmer and boil again. The center named for Ruth Thompson opens in a former library with light that pours through tall windows. There's a food pantry, a legal clinic, a classroom with bright chairs. On the wall by the door is a photo of Ruth, eyes kind, smile small. Under it, dignity is a right. Elena stands at the front on opening day, not with a ribbon, with a set of keys. She hands them to a woman who was sleeping in her car last month and now has a studio on 83rd. The woman cries. Elena cries. Lisa hands out name tags and forgets to write her last name. Mark comes in quietly on a Saturday and stocks shelves for 2 hours without telling anyone who he is. He leaves before anyone can thank him. That's okay. He came back the next week. Vivian starts a reading circle for kids on Thursday afternoons. She brings cookies she didn't buy at a store. She sits on a tiny chair and reads slowly, and sometimes she has to pause to breathe. The building on 83rd gets a new sign, Maya's home. On the lobby wall, carved into stone, is the letter 15-year-old Maya wrote, word for word. She runs her fingers over the letters and laughs a little at her teenage punctuation. I was dramatic, she says. You were brave, Elena answers. Reporters come and go. The trolls get quieter when the work gets louder. The money moves where the promise said it would. Audits go up online, boring and beautiful. People start saying the name Harrington in a new way, still with anger sometimes, but also with a nod to what came after. A man's last act doesn't erase his first, but it can point a different direction. It can build a bridge. It can pay a debt. One evening, months later, Elena stands on the porch of her small house. The sky is purple. The air tastes like rain. Maya sits on the steps, scrolling through classes for fall semester. Social work, she says, then looks up. Maybe nursing, too. I can't decide. Why not both? Elena says, smiling. They sit quiet. The city hums. A boy rides by on a bike with a blinking light. Somewhere not far away,
A door closes and a lock clicks, and someone exhales because they are inside and safe. That sound is the point. If you've stayed with me this far, here's the heart of it. Money without morality is a hollow god. But money with a mission can be a tool. People can change. Systems can bend. The stories we tell about us and them can crack open when someone dares to see and then to repair. That's what Richard tried to do at the end. That's what Elena does every day now. That's what Maya chose when she picked up the phone and said, "Come tomorrow." If this story moved you, don't let it just be a story. Look up. See who's right outside your window. Ask what you can fix with what you have. Speak up when a room needs your voice. Show up when a person needs your time. Start small. Start now. Choose different.
And hey, if you felt this, tap like so more people hear it. Subscribe for more real stories that hit the heart and tell the truth. Share your own stories in the comments. I read them, and they matter. Let's build something better together.